Hi, I'm Shelley Behan, and welcome back to Fourth Amendment Friday Fundamentals. We're going to pick up right where we left off with our second case, which is U.S. versus Cortez. This is a case where the Supreme Court taught lower courts how to calculate the reasonable suspicion that Delaware versus Prowse said was required for traffic stops. Where Delaware versus Prowse gave us the concept of reasonable articulable suspicion being required for a traffic stop, Cortez is a case that says what reasonable suspicion means. Now, Cortez is a case out of Arizona, and Cortez was where these Border Patrol agents stopped a truck they suspected of illegally bringing individuals into the United States from Mexico. Part of the reason the Border Patrol agents said they stopped the truck was location, the make and model of the vehicle, and the time of day. Cortez challenged the stop of the truck and said there wasn't enough reasonable suspicion to believe that he was trafficking in human beings. The trial court denied his motion to suppress, but the Ninth Circuit reversed, finding what they called too many innocent inferences. Now, what that means in the law is that there's an innocent explanation for the things that the officer is relying on in order to justify the stop. The Supreme Court granted review. In Latin, that word is certiorari. So the Supreme Court granted review, and they reversed the decision of the Ninth Circuit, and they developed what's called a totality of the circumstances test. Now, what this means is that in order for a reasonable suspicion stop to be upheld, a reviewing court must take a look at the totality of the circumstances surrounding the stop. Everything that was known to the officer at the time that the stop was made. So if there's information the officer gathers after the stop, that's no good. It has to be known to the officer before or at the time that the stop was made. And the officer will be considering the whole picture, not just bits and pieces here and there, but an objective observation of the whole picture of all the evidence available to the officer at the time of the stop. That is a totality of the circumstances review, and based on the totality of circumstances review, trial courts were instructed to make a determination on a case-by-case basis as to whether reasonable suspicion existed to stop a vehicle. That is the holding of Cortez. And that does it for this week's installment of Fourth Amendment Friday. Tune in next week where we'll be talking about Navarrete versus California. This is a special type of traffic stop that was based on an anonymous 911 call and not the officer's own observations of any traffic behavior or criminal activity. Until then, stay free, stay fantastic, and remember your fundamentals. My name is Shelley Behan. I'm the host of Beyond the Breathalyzer, and your rights are my priority.